Now, if I'm having some technical difficulties today, let me know in the comments. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the show, to the News Friday, news wrap up. We have some excellent news for you today. But first of all, let's welcome on to the stage Ruby Quinn. Hi, Ruby. How are you doing?
Hello, everybody. Doing okay.
How's everything down there in the disaster zone?
No, we're doing much better.
Mhm,
I'm still sick with like this sinuses or something. I don't know.
mhm.
I think it's just really bad allergies because I don't have any fever or anything, so it's just congestion. But other than that, I am good. And
Mhm.
um, it's been a while since we've actually like done the face to face because I remember last time I did like podcast style, but now I got the wig. Now I'm blonde again.
It looks good on you. What
Yeah.
does everyone say at the grocery stores when you go there?
Oh, I don't wear these outside.
No, no. It's just for TV, just for
Yes.
the podcast. Good for you.
Yeah, it's just for this.
So I was going to ask you a little side question. We're up here in Canada, and we're just kind of way up here getting cold. Freezing
Okay.
every night. Now we're kind of watching everything down there. How is the tension overall in the U.S.? I know elections coming up November 4th. People are worried. Some people are happy, or are they more worried than happy? What are you finding when you go to the gas station, the grocery stores? Are people the same, or are they different? Is there a tension in the air?
Um, I haven't noticed anything because I don't go out much, but everybody that I know of, they are, Orthodox Christians. So they are voting more so like for I don't know how to explain it, but it's more like we kind of already know that we wouldn't vote for a candidate who is not pro-life.
Mhm.
Um, so that kind of already takes off the Democratic Party,
Yeah.
right? Straight. And anybody else who is on the ballot. I think like Chase Oliver, Libertarian, Jill Stein. I think they are more pro-choice, so that might take them off the ballot. You know what I mean? So it's like we kind of already know who we're
It's
gonna
hard to
vote
say,
for.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, I
Um,
know election time, US is, the dominant country in the world. Everything's sold in the US dollar. Um, so this is a big thing for the whole world. The whole world is kind of sitting on pins and needles until November 4th. The whole world. So we'll be riding along with you. I don't know if you're going to be doing more on your political channel, but this is a good time to advertise that if you
oh
are.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey,
the comments are
go
letting
ahead.
us know that you have an echo, and I also sent it to you in the private chat, but I could hear myself on your end.
Really? Okay, I'm going to turn my volume down. In fact, I'm going to get rid of it. Did that get rid of it just
I
now?
think so. Yeah,
Let
it
me
did.
keep going.
Okay, no echo. We're good. Hello to
Okay, she
everybody in
said
the
that cleaned it
comments.
up. Now I'm going to have to, so I can hear Ruby, I'm going to have to turn it on a bit. I can't hear Ruby.
Okay,
Okay,
can you hear me
go
now?
ahead, Ruby. Okay, I'm turning my volume down. I think my mic is picking up my volume. How is
Yes.
it there? That's
Okay, I
okay?
think it's much
Uh,
better. I think it's
Okay.
better. No echo.
Okay, well,
Um,
thank you for that. I'm dealing with some new equipment, everyone here, so bear with
mhm.
us. I had one video that the sound was all mixed up. But anyways, we have some excellent news here today. And I want to bring up the screen here on our channel, and we have playlists. If you go to our channel, Fixing My Faith, if you go to the playlist section here, you will go down and find 2024 Elders books. Now, this just
Mm-hmm.
There's 19 episodes. We've been sharing this Monday nights, the Elders books. And I think that's important for everyone out there to when we're deciphering the Jehovah's Witness religion, we think of what's in the Elders book because I don't know. For a while there, I'd look at people, this elder, that elder did this, but all of those elders are in this gigantic machine. They're a cog in the machine. They don't know it. They think they're just serving a vital role. If they quit turning, that the whole kingdom hall will fall apart or whatever. They're appointed by God, the maker of the machine, right? God's the maker of that machine, JW Org. They're a cog in the machine, these elders. Who's manufactured the machine? None other than the governing body. At least they control it. It's been manufactured for 150 years. It's an old machine.
Mm-hmm.
And the governing body, they're on the helm. They're running it. And they're adding lubricant here and there and changing out cogs and changing rules, but they're running a huge machine. Elders aren't the problem. They are and they aren't. They're getting caught up in this machine that they're in, and they become part of the problem. But anyway,
Right.
we're going to talk about some of these elders or ministerial servants that have really failed, and they brought to light some really bad stuff about the machine that they're riding in. JW Org. Here's my illustration of the day. It's a
Okay.
machine. Okay, so today's news, a lot of my news, I want to thank Watching Watchtower. We don't know who they are, but they're watching the Watchtower, I'll tell you. So this is the first bit of news. If I, how they serve, you think of serving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did he serve the best wine first? Well, the best wine got served at the last, right? On that wedding feast. But he said, you're supposed to serve the best wine first, right? So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to serve the best wine first. I think the most exciting news here is going on in Denmark. And this is interesting, folks. This is Ekstra Bladet. They're a tabloid in Denmark, and they've went head to head with Jehovah's Witnesses. In fact, Jehovah's Witnesses are suing them. They've made so much noise that the government has assigned the religious minister a position, and they put the Jehovah's Witness religion under what they call surveillance. They're
Wow.
monitoring it. So I want to read some of the headlines. Let's go way to the bottom where it all started, way down here. And this is an easy way to see where this all started right here, August 2024. This is brand new stuff. And I'm going to put this link in the newscast here at the end so anybody can click it. You can click these tabs and you can get the full story right in one link. So, Jehovah's Witnesses' new rules seek out outcasts. So, this is where they got called out on their secret elders book. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
A lady was pulled into this secret meeting and brutalized, and that all came out. We all know about it, right? Were you ever in a secret elders meeting? Yeah, Ruby?
No.
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 Well, I'm glad I was. Like at the time I wasn't, but now that I'm doing this channel, I'm glad I was. And I appealed it too. It was for my daughter. She was like 14, 15, 16, whatever. It doesn't matter. She was underage. And
Mm-hmm.
under my care, that's why I was able to attend. She was living in my house. She was going
Mm-hmm.
to school. And this incident happened. Of course, it's all involves fornication. And a brother, man, came into my house, 27-year-old, when I was at work, and this all took place. And I was the guilty one. I became the guilty one. And I told the elders, blame me. Don't blame the kids. Blame me. And they did. They did. They blame you.
Mm.
They're looking for blame. So they hold these
Yeah.
secret elders meetings. You meet with three people. You bring your kid in there, spill their guts in front of these three assholes, these three bullies. They are. And you have no defense. I wanted to bring the doctor in. I wanted to bring all kinds of people in, and they said no, 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 no. I wanted to bring the that man in. They said no, no. He's
Right.
done with another congregation. He has his own judicial meeting, and he
Oh, a judicial committee. Yes, I've been in one. Yes.
You were in a judicial meeting?
Yes, yes. Like two or three.
Good for you. So you got that experience. You know how they bully. Was it a bullying experience or was it a good one for you?
Um, I could say two out of the three were more helpful in my opinion during that time.
Mhm,
And then
mhm,
the one that I actually got removed, disfellowshipped, that was more like it was really cold. It was not like trying to help or give advice.
mhm.
It was not shepherding at all. It was like
Yeah,
not they did not care at all. Yeah.
yeah. You see, I would have saved myself a lot of headaches had I realized what was in the Elders book. And that's why at the outset I showed the Elders book, the playlist. So everyone out there, if you want to know what's in the Elders book, we've been covering it chapter by chapter, and we're revealing to the world what's in the Elders book. And there's some weird stuff in there. There's some really
Mhm.
stuff that you wouldn't believe. So now I no longer blame the elders. The elders are following the rule book. The rule book is made by New York, JW Org, the machine. It's a
Right.
real estate machine, is what it is. But, anyways, Jehovah's Witnesses, new rules. This is what started Extra Bladet out. And, folks, this is just August 14th, 2024. That's a month and a half ago. And there's a lot of
Mhm.
stuff. Let's just zip through it really quick. I'll just read the headlines. Okay.
Mhm.
The next one is God's gold. Jehovah's Witnesses are swimming in money. I didn't read that one. I'm going to go back and read that one. Maybe we'll cover it next week. Or maybe we'll make a separate video out of some of this stuff. There's some
Mhm.
really good material here for XJW creators, in my opinion. Society. Here's the next one September. Seeking out on the job, Jehovah's Witnesses found outcast Sophie. Out of the Devil's Trap. There's one I'd like to read. Watched porn and smoked cigarettes. Expelled by Jehovah's Witnesses.
Mhm.
This stuff needs to get out. This is not tabloids, folks. Anybody out there watching, this is real life. Ruby and I have been in elders meetings, many judicial meetings. I've been in them, lots of them. I shouldn't say lots, but I've been in probably, with all my family considered, probably, I don't know, eight judicial meetings. I was
Wow.
disfellowshipped once myself, reinstated, so there's judicial meetings to get and then leading. I was probably in about 12 of them. I was in that org for 30 years. And
Wow.
when I first got in, I got disfellowshipped, and then I got reinstated in 6 months. But anyways, watched porn and smoked cigarettes, expelled by Jehovah's Witnesses. I
Mhm.
almost got expelled one time. I didn't normally smoke, but I was going through some marital difficulties, and I grabbed a pack of smokes and went and walked on the beach. And I almost got expelled. I got into an elders meeting. People, it's funny how when you know you're doing something wrong, someone catches you, right?
Yeah.
There's some Jehovah's Witness around the corner. So I've come to the conclusion, if I join that religion and the rules are no smoking, no fornication, none of that, well, I should listen to the rules of the religion I joined. Or I should join another religion that allows, join the Catholic Church. There's no rules. You can smoke, you can still get saved. You know what I'm saying? But if we join a religion, we should at least try to follow the rules, right? I
Mhm.
agree with that. Or why are we in the religion? Unless you're raised in the damn thing. Like you were raised in it, right?
Right.
You didn't have a choice.
Exactly. Exactly. It's very
I
different
joined
from
the
what
religion.
it is. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. These are really good titles. Jehovah's Mysterious Backers. I'm going to look at that one. The Society, they call it. Well, Society, Jehovah's Mysterious Backers. Secret book revealed how Jehovah's hidden court works. This is
Mhm.
that elders book coming out. That lady that exposed it, she was DF'd. This Anita. She was exposed to wife violence, and Jehovah's court rejected the police report. That's what started a lot of this. And then
Wow.
expert on Jehovah's Witnesses, they should not be a recognized religious community. These experts are coming to the table. So
Agreed.
Extra Bladet is writing articles. And
Mhm.
then next in September 24th, Jehovah's Court. Now the minister must answer. So they've created enough noise in Denmark that the minister must answer. And this is the breaking news one. That's the minister himself. He's the minister of
Yeah.
churches in that country. There's rules. And one of the rules is that you cannot have secret courts. It's against their government policy. You have to have a proper judicial system that works with the country's judicial. If you're going to have these side courts, side judicial meetings, they have to be run according to the way the country runs a judicial system.
Right. I
You
agree with
have to
that.
be able to appeal. You have to be able to pull your witnesses in. You have to be able to know what's inside that damn elders book. If you're going to be an attorney and go into this elders meeting, you got to know what's leading them. And you see, when you do a proper court, everything is put forth. So
Mm-hmm.
Denmark, they're tackling this organization from a different angle. It's not about child welfare, disfellowshipping kids. This is about secret courts with the secret elders book. And that's why I wanted to show everyone online. We read that book every Monday, and I read it blank. I have never been through it, and some of the stuff blows me away. So you get my reaction. Now,
Yeah.
the next one is after supervision case, now Jehovah's Witnesses react. So the government's involved. Now the JWs are finally reacting. So here's what's happening. Jehovah's 9 mighty men, they rule the witnesses. Now there's 11, right? They're going to have to do another article.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is an interesting one. Skipping taxes. Jehovah's cool benefits. There's a good one. You want to run a news article.
Yeah.
Like these are all news articles for creators. These guys have done all our work. And I've been reading everything I've read from this company is right on. They've nailed it. They've nailed it. They're not stretching anything here. They're not stretching a thing for a tabloid. Now, I think that's why the minister's looking at them. There's enough
Mm-hmm.
evidence. Once there's enough evidence, it doesn't matter how it comes out. You have
Right.
to deal with that evidence, right? Enough
Yep.
hearsay, you got to go in and establish facts as a government, or else how are you leading your people?
Exactly.
So here we're just about through this. Psychologists about Jehovah's Witnesses, they practice psychological violence.
I
And
brought
this
that one
lady,
up.
I think, yeah, you ran that article about the
Yeah.
kids, the cartoons. This is a very reputable lady, very nice lady. Oops, I didn't want to get into it there. So the next one is the church minister on Jehovah's Witnesses. You must comply with Danish law.
Right.
So the church minister looked into it and said, "Oh, they got to comply." And now Jehovah's Wild Rules. I did a video on that one. Jehovah's Wild Rules.
Yeah.
That's good. Now, Rage Against Jehovah, Run with Dying Woman's Legacy.
Mm.
You know what they were doing there, eh? They're chasing people's wills. They've got some
Oh,
people that come forward. Yep, they're going after my mom's will, chasing them, the elders. So Rage Against Jehovah, Run with Dying Woman's Legacy. I think that's the one. And then
mm.
here's the other one: Obey Jehovah, cartoon shocks psychologists. You're
That's
gonna
the one
talk
with the
about it?
children, and
Yeah,
I'm actually editing a video right now that I'm going to upload today about that.
good for you. Great. The more we do, the better it is. Anybody out there watching that's
Mhm.
online, make a video. These guys in Denmark, this Extra Bladet, we need to write them a letter and thank them. Like
Yep, that's what I said last
as like
night. We need
Jehovah's
to get
Witnesses.
the author of all of
I think,
the journalist of all of these
yeah,
articles, and we need to send them a huge thank
yeah.
you.
All of us online, anybody that's XJW, we're going to put the link in, write them a letter, thank them. Wouldn't that go a long ways if you're getting thank yous from the US, from Canada, from Florida, Australia? Yeah, would maybe they'll start covering some of our stories. We'll give them links to our channels, Ruby. You never know. Now, society, the next one, Jehovah's Witnesses refuse to accept blood. I'm so glad they're covering that. They tried to dead. How do you try a dead boy, right? Now, the Jehovah's Witnesses make videos out of all these martyrs, all these people that basically commit suicide. These boys, these kids. They don't know if they're going to be in that religion when they turn 18 or become an adult. My son thought he was a Jehovah's Witness and he turned 18 and quit. He ran out as fast as he could. So yeah, uh, there's a lot of blood on Jehovah's Witness on. Now I'm not going to blame Jehovah's Witnesses. This goes back to the machine, jw.org, the 11 men that are actually running that machine. They're driving it. So now Jehovah's Witnesses answer the minister. They attack Ekstra Bladet, and I think they sued them. I think that's within that article. I think we covered it. Something's on the go there. And then the next one here is homosexual caught in Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm afraid of not going to paradise. And that's the one we're going to cover today after
Yeah.
we turn this back over to Ruby. So what a what a lot of articles. Like this is amazing.
Hmm.
All here. I don't know if I can see their email. Let me see here.
If we find it, we'll post it in the
If we find it, we're going to post it in the description. If
Yeah.
to
Like how
this
to
video,
contact.
and I think as many of us that like writes him a little thank you note or something like that, that'd be cool. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to you, Ruby. You had an article.
Well, it's actually, yeah, I have one article that everybody has been sharing on Facebook. So that's how I saw it. And then I also found it on Twitter. So it's swirling around all Extra W community platforms. But this one that I wanted to share is and this is one of the guys that was also a part of the Norway thing, that happened recently. I'm going to share my screen in a second. I still hear an echo of myself, just to let you know.
Yeah, I'm going to turn my thing down, mute it. There.
Okay. So this is really quick because I don't know their language. It was not translated into English. But this is the tweet from Jan Frode Nielsen. He says, breaking Watchtower versus Norway. In a letter from Watchtower to the Norwegian government, they claim that Jehovah's Witnesses now have adjusted the disfellowshipping arrangements and ask them to reconsider their refusal for grants and registration. The letter in Norwegian is available here. So if anybody wants that, I will link this tweet in the description, because when you click on it, it is in their language. And then this is his thread here. Oh, let me see. It says translated into English here. Oh, okay. I didn't even see this, but now I do.
The Watchtower.
Okay.
They're retracting now or going to court?
Yeah, it's like they're petitioning the courts to re-examine their decision, because now that they've made the changes, which was in the last annual meeting, we saw that they were not going to disfellowship minors anymore. They were going to make it a little bit harder for committees to be made if a JW baptized minor sins and they are repentant, then they don't have to do a committee. So they did a lot of changes when it came to that. So this is the English translation. I just found it literally live while we were here. And it says October 24th, 2024, decisions on denial of state subsidies and loss of registrations for Jehovah's Witnesses. Adjustments, let's see, in Jehovah's Witness religious practice regarding limited contact with a person. We are writing to you concerning the ongoing legal case that will be heard by the Bogarting Court of Appeal in February 2024. Okay, so this just passed. The doctrinal adjustment was published worldwide in the study edition of the Watchtower from August 2024. And then they give their adjustments, which we already know about because, it created a whole frenzy. They almost broke the XJW internet with this. So I'll
Wow.
link all
So
of
they're
this in the chat.
so it sounds like they're going back to Norway and saying, Norway, do we check the box? Can we be a religion
Yes.
now? Do we fill
Yes.
the requirements? We made these slight changes we made just to the kids, not to the adults, just to the kids. We made some slight changes.
Right, because that was the major problem. That's a violation of human rights when a minor child is being shunned. Because according to them, they have to follow the rules as if an adult would. So I get it. I get it. The problem I have with all of these changes was not only, that they've been changing since we've seen them change, but because they're doing it to bend the knee to the Norwegian government. As a Jehovah's Witness, in the back of my mind, we would refer to that scripture that says we don't obey men, we obey God, right? So if a government is telling us you need to make these changes, just like Norway did, in the back of my head, I would say, no, we're not going to change. This is how Jehovah tells us to worship him. You would hold your ground. That's not what they did. They bended the knee because they want the subsidies, they want the money, and they want the recognition as a religion and a charity status and all of that.
Yeah.
So they made these changes so that they can get it. They can get the money.
Yeah. So what I was going to say, Ruby,
Hmm.
if you were in the governing body, and you made that stand, just you're going to stick by the rules, right? Do you know what you'd get as a reward? You'd get a brand new house in a subdivision, just like Tony Morris,
Yeah, I
because
guess.
that's what he wanted. He wanted to stick to the rules. He said, "There's
Right,
no way we're changing." So you'd get a brand new
right.
house in a subdivision,
But you
and you'd
see,
be
I
told to shut
respect
up.
Anthony. I respect Anthony Morris a little bit more as a governing body member, because if you are one and you are a real Jehovah's Witness, not these lukewarm, spiritually weak Jehovah's Witnesses, you would say, no, we're not going to change. We're going to stay the same. These are our rules. And oh, well, we don't need your charity status. We don't need your money. We don't need your government because we have God's, Jehovah's government. So when I see them doing this, to me, that's what tells me, if I'm still indoctrinated, that that's not the truth, because you're bending down to Satan's government. We don't listen to men, we listen to God. So that right there, if I was still a witness, I would have left, because I'm like, this doesn't seem right. Why are we appeasing human governments just because we want that money? We can fund ourselves, like, and that's what I would say. I would fund my own kingdom hall. I would donate to my own kingdom hall. I don't care about what the governments say.
I agree. And people that are on the inside, perhaps watching this, or maybe if they're watching this, are kind of on loose ground. But that's good. But people that are looking at this, they should be waking up, and they should be saying, "Wow, like wow, we're canceled because of disfellowshipping." But now, like they would have known that Norway, they went to court. That was on JW.org's website. They all know that. On the last annual meeting, they said, "Yeah, you're going to Google this." Remember the new governing body members? They said they're going to Google it. They know that their members are Googling things. So the members are Googling Norway. They're getting all of our apostate sites coming up, and we're just all we do is relate news, right? We don't do much. I don't. I just read news and bring that to the forefront because it's hidden. That's like telling the rest of the story.
Right,
Jehovah's Witnesses do not get the rest of the story. So they need to hear that, and it's fair that they get that. They need to know that that court case cost their organization a half, 500, a $500,000,
right.
$500,000, just for the legal bill, not including the hotels, the food, all the people being flown there from New York,
Hmm.
and all the man hours that went into developing that court case. And then they developed this whole branch office in the European Union just to tackle freedom of religion. Remember that guy that's a
Right,
janitor got up and gave his little speech, and the judge says, "Well, what's your profession?" He says, "Well, I'm a welder or something." I don't know what he was, a maintenance guy, but he fumbled around in court. He didn't look professional, didn't look good on the org's part.
right,
This is what they got. But of course, they don't have higher education. They don't have lawyers and doctors. They just have blue collar laborers. That's what the org has, and that's all they have to
right,
offer
right,
a court. So yeah, it's interesting what's happening. I think what you and I are witnessing here is phenomenal right now. This organization is making changes, like major changes and multiple major changes within 1 year. Why? Because of the work of one apostate in Norway. Well, the
Exactly. Like
apostates.
that's why you don't you know how they say like America doesn't negotiate with terrorists? That's
Mhm,
how I would also view it with like apostates if I was a witness. We don't negotiate with
mhm.
apostates. That's why you don't fight. Like these are not the battles you fight for. So it and I don't want to seem like I'm supporting the organization because I'm not. I'm just saying when I was a Jehovah's Witness, this is the way I used to think. Why are you fighting these types of battles? These are not the battles you should be fighting. Because if you lost the funding, forget about it. It's Satan's money, it's Satan's government. Who cares, right? We already have our own money. We can fund ourselves. So if you're going to make a change, make it for the right reasons, not because you're trying to appease a worldly government. Like that's how I would talk to my mom and try to help her realize that that's the angle they were going in. They were not making the change because they were thinking about teenage baptized Jehovah's Witnesses and how they would go, through the judicial committee. They were not thinking in those terms because they're not giving you all the details. So when I present my news, I give it because I know they're gonna bury it, right? I agree with you. They don't tell the truth. They're not gonna put it on jw.org. But another reason why I do the news is because I am showing them how hypocritical it is. Because if you were a real Jehovah's Witness, this would not fly in your house, in your household. This wouldn't fly. So why are you accepting it when the organization does it on a world stage, in a real court, like outside in public, with exactly with the ARC? Brother Jackson said we should not be presumptuous to say we're not the only channel, that wouldn't fly in my house. We would say yes, we are Jehovah's only channel. The governing body are anointed, they're gonna go to heaven, and they are the only ones who are Jehovah's channel. So why do you accept it when Jackson says it in court? It doesn't make any sense. That's my stance. It's like that's what's hypocritical about it. So, do it for the
Well,
right reasons. Don't do it for to appease people.
Jackson's lost all his credibility, their governing body, because he's either a liar, a fraud, or he's crazy, right? One of the three. So he goes to court. He doesn't know the questions they're asking him. They ask him. They swear him in on his Bible. He wouldn't swear him in on their Bible. He swore in on his Bible that has all the deleted scriptures. It's not even a Bible, but they swore him in on that. And the crown prosecutor knew enough about their religion, just like Ekstra Bladet. They'd already deciphered the Elders book back then. So they start running this guy through, and the first thing in the Elders book is the brand new one, and I show this on my first video. In the first chapter, it says you seek out what the Bible says, but you obey the faithful, discreet slave. Guys, that's idol worship. I don't know how to put that any other way. I obey the Bible. I thought I did when I was in that org, but we were just a cog in the big machine, and we were following, listening, and maybe you didn't obey, I didn't obey. We kind of went out of gear. We'd cause little jams in the machine, you and me, because we
Right.
didn't always agree. You didn't agree with your mom, I didn't agree with the elders. I'd start smoking. They would try to shove that wheel back into place and say, okay, just do your work, Vern, and quit smoking and be a good JW. So I did. I did that for a number of years. I even went and started pioneering after that. But then
Mhm.
I found that these Pharisaical elders, and that's what I call them, Pharisaical elders, it's the Pharisaical governing body. These elders are just cogs in the machine. Your mom's just a cog in the machine. It's that governing body that we have to go after. I want to show you guys. You know about this here probably. Did you run an article on this? This
No, but
this
I
video
just
that they deleted? They
I
deleted an expulsion video on their website. I did. These guys brought it. These guys are good apostates. They brought it to
yeah.
our attention, and so here it is. The video was decisive for Jehovah's Witnesses in Norway losing their recognition as a religious community. Has now been deleted from the movement's website. Now, Ekstra Bladet can bring the video. Can bring the video. Can use it, right? So only an Extra Bladet, and these guys are in Denmark. That's how close these countries work together. It's a domino effect. Once one country, and Denmark is so well recognized in the world. They're sending in billions of aid into the Ukraine all on their own because they don't belong to the UN. They just sign up. They're not under all the rules. They're kind of an interesting country, the Norway country. Now, a controversial eviction video has been deleted from the international website of Jehovah's Witnesses. The deletion of the video takes place in the wake of the Ministry of Church Affairs having initiated an oversight case against the religious community recognized in Denmark. In 2021, Jehovah's Witnesses in Norway lost their recognition as a religious community. One of the reasons was precisely that the harsh expulsion procedure was deemed to be breach of the UN Convention on Rights of a Child. Excellent. The deleted video, which Ekstra Bladet can bring, shows how a daughter is ostracized by her family and therefore has to travel away from home and then find the truth and return many years later. So they want you to buy a subscription to that, but we can show everyone where to get that video for free on apostate sites. Right, Ruby?
Yeah, this is why I was asking that. I mean, this is basically why Warwick Pimo got removed. He was sharing these videos that were um um that were being deleted. And then when they found out that he was the one who was leaking that information, and it was for when the Norway case was going on, they found out that it was him. He was the one leaking the stuff, and they wanted his electronics. They were tracking this guy down and violating his rights. So now that Extra Bladet is reporting on this, we have talked about this. A lot of other XJW YouTubers have been archiving, and websites too have been archiving everything that they're posting because it could potentially be deleted later. This is what they're doing. They're trying to hide their tracks. They know it's going to come and bite them in the butt later on. And they want money, right? They want that charity status. So if it becomes a problem, they'll just delete it later and then put a request so that they can get those subsidies again. And hopefully the country, because I know it's Norway right now, but in the future it could be a lot of other countries, right? I hope that these countries do not repeal this. That they do not accept the changes and say, okay, now you're allowed. Because that's exactly what government does. They make the rules, they want you to follow the rules, and if you don't, they'll give you a 30 days, 90 days to fix the problem. And as soon as you fall in line, you're good to go. It's like another form of a cult. That's why we always say that there's cults everywhere. It's not just religious types of cults. There's cults everywhere. And that's why when I do my political stuff, I'm so like anti-government, anti-cult, anti-this, and I am anti-control wherever it presents itself. You should be able to live the way you want, eat the way you want, be self-sustaining. Like be free, could be completely free. As long as there's
So
no neglect or abuse, you should be free.
can I drive really fast when you're in the car, like 100? Like I don't
As
have to
long as
obey
it's
speed limits,
safe,
right?
as long as it's safe, right? Because
Oh,
before
okay.
the
There
world
is rules
wars,
then.
there was no speed limits, right? And you didn't have to wear seatbelts, right? Back in the day. Now they
I'm just
instituted
I'm
these
just giving you a
things.
rough time.
No, but it's true. It's true though, because
Yeah.
I mean that's how free I am.
Mm.
Like I would go to the extreme of freedom. Nobody should be telling you nothing. Like that's when the libertarianism comes out when I discuss these things, because I'm like they should not regulate anything. I mean absolutely nothing. Everything should be abolished, and the family should get all those rights back to the people. So even if you do want to be a Jehovah's Witness, you have the freedom to do it as long as you're not neglecting your children or yourselves or abusing other people, hurting other people. As long as you do like the basic human rights, you should be fine. Worship whatever you want to worship, do whatever you want to do. Stop imposing it on other people. Stop abusing your own members, and start respecting human rights for everybody who joins or who doesn't want to join, because they harass us for not wanting to become a part of them. Like, what sense does that make?
So, here's one thing I think we need to keep fighting as on this side
Mm-hmm.
of the fence is since the UN, Extra Bladet was talking about the UN, the charter, the freedom of religion, and the charter with the children, persecuting
Yep.
these children. We still have to push the disfellowshipping and the shunning that they do to us people that walk away. We're never going back. We're never going to study. We're never going to repent. We
Right.
just walked away because we have chosen a different belief. Not that belief, but we've chosen a new belief. And the Charter of Rights allows us to do that. We
Right.
can go in and out of a religion. We can go in and out of 10 religions, and we should not suffer persecution in the sense that they broadcast your name. Everyone disfellowships you. No one talks to you because why? I chose to go to the church next door, and all of a
Right.
sudden I'm a wicked person. You see, that has to go away. We have to keep fighting that. That's against the Charter of Human Rights.
Right.
And
Or
they can
non-belief as
fix it for
well.
the kids, but they're not. They got to fix it for the adults too.
Right.
And this
Exactly.
shunning has to go away. Period.
Entirely. Like, the
Yeah,
whole system
yeah,
needs to be abolished. They could
yeah,
keep their beliefs, but
yeah.
the whole policy needs to be
Yeah.
abolished. Like, get rid of it for
The
everybody.
blood
But they're
thing, the secret court, everything.
right,
Sorry
exactly.
for
Yeah,
cutting you
all of it.
off,
The
but
whole
yeah.
institution of shunning and the steps to get there, then it needs to be abolished. That's why I always say, like, I'm an abolitionist, but these people are incrementalists. They want to do it little by little, and they're only going to do it if the law dictates them to do it. So, in my opinion, that's not morally right. You should do it because you worship, Jehovah, a loving God, and like whatever they say. You only do it when the government tells you to do something, then you're not real Christian, in my opinion.
Okay, so I got another article here. It's Edward Puzzi. Okay, you
Uh-huh.
guys don't make fun of this. This is CSA. Now, age 81. He's 81 years old now.
Uh-huh.
And Plymouth. I got the article right here. But I was abused by a Jehovah's Witness elder, and I blame the religion's rules. So here's a picture of a little girl, a woman who was sexually abused by an elder in Plymouth. And Plymouth is, I believe they gave us a map there. That's, I guess, in Europe, I think.
Okay.
It's in the UK. I thought they gave us a map on that one. But yeah, that's in the UK. And so she was abused. They're not identifying her for legal reasons. Edward Puzzi, now 81, he was accused of a number of offenses, including indecent assault of girls under 13, sexual intercourse. Uh, you guys can read that with the 13-year-old. He denied the offenses, but was found guilty at trial and was jailed for 14 years. He was placed on sex offenders registry. Allison, now in her 60s, contacted Plymouth Live following our original report, and she strongly felt the offenses were able to take place in part because of the way the religion was structured, a point noted by the judge Peter Johnson. And this is important, folks, because this brings liability back to the religion. We all know that's where it is. Just look at the elders book. They control everyone with these elders books. And all of the blame has to go back to jw.org. It has to. Here's what it says here. She claimed the religion's two witness rule stated that if the accused did not confess and if there were not two witnesses to the crime, then the victims were at the time discouraged from reporting offenses to secular authorities and instead asked to leave the matter in Jehovah God's hands. How many times have we heard that off a watchtower, off a platform? I've heard that so many times. I'm sick of it.
Oh
Leave it in
yeah.
Jehovah's hands. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's just a way of covering it up, right?
Yep.
Let Jehovah cover. We're in Jehovah's hands, and He's just going to cover it all up. How ridiculous is that, right? Now, the
Mm-hmm.
jury heard how Puzzi was deemed an elder in the congregation. I think that's important for everyone to note. He knew the rule book. He knew how to get around it, right? The two witness rules. That's why this organization has to have accountability. They're running by that elders book. That's the old elders book, by the way. And I covered that on other programs, but it allows for this two witness rules. They have very little on CSA in the old elders book. And that's what they're being challenged for today all over the earth is their old elders book. They can fix it with their new one, kind of, but they're not. They're not really doing a good job. It's not a book of love. So, anyways, sentencing, the judge told Puzzi the harm he caused was immeasurable. And I thought this was interesting. The judge said that it was possible Puzzi thought that because of the Bible interpretation of the two witness rule, his abuse was not witnessed by another, and so he thought he could get away with it. The judge noted how the victim's own mother took a similar stance, telling her daughter that because there was not a second witness, her allegations should be dismissed. See, now I think these mothers and stuff, there's accountability. There's accountability all the way down the line here with adults, parents. Now, the judge told the court this was in the mid 70s and it may have been part of the culture of that particular branch at the time. No, it was all over the earth happening. Australia, New Zealand, Canada, US, all over. But one earnestly hopes that there are proper safeguard arrangements. No, there aren't. None, nothing. This organization is dangerous. It's dangerous because it lies and covers things up. You never know the truth. Now, it goes on to talk, this whole article talks about how this person talks about the environment was dangerous for the children, especially if there's a pedophile in the house. And if the pedophile is an elder, it's a double dangerous. It's double danger because the elder knows how to get around it all. So he says, I think Jehovah's Witnesses pay lip service to a safeguarding policy which is ineffective in the face of their teachings and practices. And that's it in a nutshell. So this guy tried to get his sentence smaller. And you know what the judge said? I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's a long article. We can pin it. Look at how long it is. The judge says, you're going to serve as many years as that girl waited, was victimized. So she was victimized at 13 all the way until she's 60. And that's what he was sentenced with. But out of the whole thing, I think he got 14 years. But the judge went on him and said, you should do the same amount of time in prison that girl served carrying around that garbage inside her. That's justice.
Wow. Yeah, I agree with that.
This is one, I'm not sure what they say and what they do, two different things. We could run this one a bit.
Jehovah's Witnesses response. With regards to supporting victims, the spokesperson said,
Elders strive to treat victims of child abuse with compassion, understanding, and kindness. The elders endeavor to listen carefully and empathetically to victims and to console them. Of course, victims and their families may decide to consult a mental health professional.
At the same time as this statement, this has been going on in 2 court cases against Watchtower, in New York. How to find this information?
I thought the voice was good. That's why I played it.
Yeah, that
So
was
yeah,
kind
this is
of
going on. Go ahead.
that was kind of cool. The voice change, it sounded good.
So this
Yeah.
goes on to talk about this whole court system. Did I pull an article up on this one? I didn't. Now here's an interesting one. A wall collapses. The Jehovah's Witnesses are building a kingdom hall in Lubutsky, and I think they show a map here, and then I'll read the article. I'll look at it's a short
October
article.
29, 2024. A new Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses is being built in Sabinka. It is to be built in a few weeks. Jehovah's Witnesses Lubutsky. The construction of the Jehovah's Witnesses Kingdom Hall has been underway in Sabinka for several weeks. The building is being erected entirely by volunteers, including skilled builders. Recently, work was halted by an accident at the construction site. This week, work resumed. The religious facility is to be built at a breakneck pace. Since September 1st, construction of a new Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses has begun on Krasnienska Street in Sabinka. The building is being erected entirely by volunteers. The Kingdom Hall is the place where Jehovah's Witnesses hold their Christian meetings each.
Okay, so I'll just speed this up. Have you ever been to a quick build, Ruby?
I don't think so, because when I tried to apply to be a volunteer, they denied me, and I was like 15 years old.
So at these quick builds, they've kind of streamlined them. I was at one of the very first ones in Canada back in the 80s. And so anyways, here's this article. Due to strong winds, one of the walls of the building under the construction collapsed and crushed one of the volunteer workers. The injured woman was taken to the hospital, and according to representatives of the JWs in Lubutsky, the woman underwent surgery and quickly left the hospital. She still wants to help with the construction of the hall. It sounds like a little bit of BS there, but she went and had surgery that day and she wants to go back to work. I don't know about that, but you know how PDI departments are? They lie a lot, Jehovah's Witnesses. And I'm going to tell you, I was selected to go to do a district assembly part because of my up north witnessing, and we had a lot of Bible studies and stuff. So my whole family was, and we were going over rehearsing this with the elder. Last minute, they pulled us and said, no, we're going to use this other family. So the other family got up and actually used my words. They imitated like they were us and pretended that they went up north, just like it was us. I sat in the audience cussing and swearing inside my head. I had to walk out. I walked out of the assembly hall. I thought it was just complete BS. But now I know that all of these videos that they produce are fake. They might get some example, someone like Ruby goes out and has a good experience, and then some pioneer elder's wife gets up on the assembly and gives your experience like it was hers.
Oh, okay.
That's what they did. And it's all acting. Jehovah's Witnesses are actors. I'm going to do a video on that actually, how they act.
Hello to Keith Bryant. He's a PMO JW viewer in the
What's
chat.
that? Oh, yeah.
I just highlighted the chat.
Yeah, great. If you could go over some of them, that would be good. I got a lot of articles here, so if anybody has some stuff in the chat, that's good. That'd be great too. So that, yeah, this is just the volunteers building that Kingdom Hall. And if you know anything about a quick build, there's like 31 photos here, but they show all the photos. And you have people that aren't qualified. This is the only religion, or one of the only religions, where they use people in this manner. Now I got a thing. I don't want to click anything, so I'm just going to get rid of it. Okay, the next article I have is Jehovah's Witness 6 years in prison requested for veto. And I pulled this up. Sant Elena. It's all in. I got to refresh this, get it back into English. There we go.
We are live. Welcome, Jonah. Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Yeah, it's nice to be on the Q&A. Technically, we've done 2 this month because
Can you hear
was
that?
a little late.
Yes, I can. What is that?
This guy, I don't know.
Full disclosure for anybody who sees this later, I casually got up to date on my vaccines yesterday, and I didn't think about this live stream, and
I don't know who this is.
I'm
gonna get rid of it.
zoning out here and there, but I'm gonna.
Okay, I got rid of it. When you're going through all these articles, I got my whole desktop full. Now, this is Saint Helena. Is that how you say that? Saint Helena or Helena? Helena.
I don't know.
Well, 6 years in prison requested for Jehovah's Witness convicted of abuse. Santa Elena, convicted of abuse. The plaintiff asked for jail, the prosecution for conditional sentence, and the defense for an exemption. I think this is brand new article, October 29th, 2024, but it's an old case. And I'm just going to read this. So the Jehovah's Witness was sentenced to 12 years in prison for abuse. The man was convicted in 2021 by a collegiate court composed of judges, Carolina, so on and so forth. And in that sentence, the judges found him responsible for the crime against the sexual integrity of a minor, but did not impose a sentence and sent the file to the criminal judge for children and adolescents of La Paz. And they also sentenced his brother-in-law, Matisse Varquas, who received 12 years in prison for the crime of seriously outrageous sexual abuse aggravated by his status as a minister. So he was an elder of worship, and for being in charge of the and repeated simple sexual abuse in the form of aggravated by his status as a minister of worship. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. These guys are going to jail for a long time, 12 years, and they're not treated good in jail. Some of these guys don't make it out. They find out that stuff. That's what happens in the jail. They don't want to go, so they hire lawyers to try to keep them out and get them in different
Yep.
courts. Some of them try to say they're insane, They don't want to go to jail.
Oh yeah.
This was one about the Catholic Church and JWs, that Watchtower put together.
Pope's Abuse Board calls for transparency and compensation. In a landmark move, Pope Francis' Child Protection Board has requested improved access to information and compensation for victims of clergy sexual abuse. Until proven otherwise, this is, in all probability, just another PR exercise by the Catholic Church. See this community post.
So I read the article. There is an article on that.
However,
and
could you imagine a headline like this about
and the Pope's Abuse Board calls for transparency and compensation? So they're kind of going after the Pope. They've done a lot of hiding. The Jehovah's Witnesses are doing the same. This is all coming out. How widespread is this? This has all been coming out for years, and the Jehovah's Witnesses will be coming out for years. They've just delayed it. That's all. That's all the
Right.
Jehovah's Witnesses have done. Now, what's this one? After many years, this is Denmark. Again, it's this Denmark article. A homosexual caught in Jehovah's Witnesses. I am afraid of not going to paradise. Have you seen that one?
I have not. No.
Crazy, eh? After many years in what many consider a religious sect, Amanda has begun to doubt her membership of Jehovah's Witnesses. The reason is, among other things, false information, social control, and a recent crush on a woman. So many people are leaving Jehovah's Witnesses or finding out that they're gay or lesbian. This is one of them. And she tells her story. And in today's world, if Jehovah's Witnesses want to sling around freedom of rights in the UN, well, guess what? That's in there. They're going to have to accept that, right? That's what it is. If they want to use the UN as their stronghold and say, "Hey, we have freedom of religion," well, there's also freedom of being gay or freedom of being lesbian. And you have to be okay with that, Jehovah's Witnesses. They have to be okay with it. So are they going to make those changes? You see, the UN is a very loosey-goosey. It's not a totalitarian religion. It's kind of good for all of mankind. And so everyone's trying to use it as a higher authority clause on everything. Now, here's one from The Guardian. And
That
pipe
was
in
gonna
there,
be my next
Amanda.
article as well, so we can go over this together because
Okay,
that's
I'll let you
this was
do it if you want.
well, I'm not
I
gonna read
never
the
even
whole
looked at this.
article. Sure.
Well, he said he thought he'd die. Luke Evans. He grew up
Yeah,
as
isn't that
a gay,
interesting?
as a Jehovah's Witness. Yeah. You can
Yeah,
make
I
your
didn't
own
know
video on
that.
this one. Are you
Oh
going to
yeah.
make a video on this? Okay, I'll leave this one. Unless you want to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I think this is super interesting because Luke Evans is a really like in my opinion, like A-lister actor. So I didn't know that he grew up as one of Jehovah's Witnesses and that his mother was a pioneer. And both of his parents were witnesses. And they talk about his book. So I'm interested in getting that book. Maybe I'll read it. I'll get it at the library. But he describes how, he grew up as a witness. He was bullied in school because at a very young age, he identified as a homosexual. And so they bullied him over that. And wow, he looks just like his dad in that picture. I couldn't believe how much they look alike. But he said like he used to go out in service with his mom, and he bumped into like a schoolmate. And this experience of Luke Evans saying like he was basically a born in, just like me, just like most of us in the community that were forced to go door to door, forced to be um like met. You might bump into somebody that in school. Like that was always the fear of going door to door in your neighborhood. That's why I used to love going out in service in other people's congregations, or like in Manhattan if I lived in the Bronx, because you potentially could bump into somebody and you never really wanted to announce that you was a Jehovah's Witness. So he talks about that. He talks about, his feelings that, he was attracted to
I was
males.
gonna, can I just cut in there a bit?
Yeah.
This right here, he said he was expected to shout his allegiance to Jehovah from the mountaintop when he entered a new class at school. It was his responsibility to address his teacher, fellow pupils about the rules of his religion. And at the secondary school, there were 9 Jehovah's Witnesses, but as the only boy, he was designated to do the explaining. He says, I had to stand up and say, we don't do Christmas, we don't do Easter, we don't do birthdays, we don't do assemblies in the morning. Like, could you imagine having, did you have to do stuff like that, Ruby?
Yeah, because I was the only one in the entire school that was a Jehovah's Witness. So exactly how he's explaining this, it is like we all went through the same shared experience as growing up as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. So now that I know this about him, it makes me like so much more empathetic, to other people that are no longer, Jehovah's Witnesses, but that are either famous or in the public eye, because we would have never known about this if he didn't say something, if he didn't share his story with us. That's why I appreciate when the Extra W community have so much more people coming out and saying their story. Because you could read this whole article about Luke, and you can you can sympathize with him, the child that was forced to go through with this, like us. And then you look at somebody like Serena, and she's also famous and in the public eye, and she's just a huge letdown. Like she doesn't follow the rules. She is not the Jehovah's Witness that you're supposed to be, right? He explains it. We all explain it. So you can see the major differences. I would take Luke's story over Serena any day. Like
I was going to say there, do you notice how he says, does he think door knocking helped bring out the actor in him? No, it didn't give me anything other than terror. I
yeah,
simply needed it. I
yeah.
thought that was interesting, because sometimes JWs like to take credit. Oh, well, we made him the actor that he is.
No, no,
I'm
I
glad
would
he
agree
made
with
that
him.
statement.
I don't think it's necessarily the door-to-door knocking. But you know how Jehovah's Witnesses, they try to force us to put that new personality, and you kind of have to pretend to be somebody that you're not. So maybe that would be more likened to probably helping him be such a great actor that he was, because I had to do the exact same thing. I had to transform my face, my attitude, my personality as soon as I walked into the Kingdom Hall. As soon as I left the Kingdom Hall, I was myself again. So that's how I realized how I had this sort of like secret hidden power that I can change who I am in an instant, and I can become whoever I need to become in front of people. And then they used to use that scripture as an excuse when Paul said, I am a Jew to the Jews, or I am a this to the this. Like he is the Gentile to the Gentiles. They used that as an excuse to make us as Jehovah's Witnesses, bend and fold and conform to or adapt to a situation so that we can bring the message, so that we could preach, so that we could, bring praise to Jehovah's name. once I took that religious element out of it, I was able to use that as a skill when I had to do a job interview and I had to be enthusiastic and I had to, like really sell myself. I was able to like replace it and do something good with that kind of a skill. But in reality, I always felt like I was a fake person, that I was always putting a happy face when behind that face I was always either sad or angry, like so many mood swings that I was going through, and you're just masking, you're masking everything. That's what the Jehovah's Witnesses teach you. They teach you how to be fake, and they teach you how to just conform and just do whatever you need to do to, fake it till you make it. Like
Yeah,
that
that's
is more.
interesting that you said mask, because Jehovah's Witnesses wear 3 masks, at
Mhm.
least 3 masks. So we have who we really are. We don't tell anybody about that. That's mask number 1. We hide that. That's way hidden. We don't even tell ourselves. Sometimes we're afraid of our own mask as a JW, right? Because of the
Mhm.
indoctrination. So then you have mask number 2, yourself at home around your family. And then
Right.
mask number 3 is kind of where you go to the Kingdom Hall, go out in service and stuff like that. At work could be mask number 4. A person might wear a different mask at work,
Yep.
but the Japanese talk a lot about masks. We all wear masks. I thought this was interesting though. This actor, this famous actor, he here all these years he's acting and he's just like you and me, ex Jehovah's Witness with all this crap in his head. Look at this. He says, "What was more frightening, the thought of being disowned by your parents at Armageddon, instantly losing your parents. The only thing that mattered to me was my mom and dad. Care about I really didn't care about the dying bit once I realized who I was and what I needed to do to be who I was. But this whole he'd lose his mom and dad, right? And this is what this organization, why we know it's a cult. The 10 Commandments says honor your parents, honor your mom and dad. But this organization has taken away Mother's Day, Father's Day, everything to do with the honor. It's taken it away. But here's this actor going through the same stuff you and I and every
Mhm.
other ex Jehovah's Witness is going through. Trying to piece his life together, trying to figure out who he is. This is different photographs, I guess, of him in different movies.
Yeah, I love him in The
Maybe he
Hobbit.
could,
He was in The Hobbit. Like,
yeah.
I'm so shocked that this is we're actually talking about this guy, because I'm like, I love
Mhm.
this guy. He's so handsome. Like, we all had a crush on, these types
Yeah.
of actors. So I can't even believe it, like right now. So it's really interesting that he's had the same experience as I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really
Yep.
weird.
And then how did he get this? This is his story in the early 20s. He got working in musical theater. And so there's a whole story here. Like there's a lot of stuff here. It's an interesting article. Very good article. I don't know how much of it you want to cover, but you could probably do a video on this
Oh wow, yeah,
if
that's
you're
a
if you
whole.
follow the actor, right? It'd be good to do a video on him. Okay,
Yeah.
well, yeah, this is the next one that watching Watchtower had. Protect Ralph Walls protecting your thinking ability. And I guess it was in relation to this one. And the Jehovah's Witness parents of Luke Evans. So these were all tied together. Watching Watchtower kind of put that together. You could watch it, but if you're going to cover that, you can watch the video. The next one I have, moving into another topic, is a former Jehovah's Witness elder, Norman Aviles, sentenced to 11 and a half to 25 years in prison. That's your
Uh-huh.
article, right?
Yep, I just posted
Yeah,
that video yesterday. I covered that story, and
that's
he
the guy.
deserves everything that he got. Yeah, that's just it. Not only is it like criminal, right? Because we always talk about crime, but it's just super disrespectful, because he was being sponsored to come to the United States because he's from Puerto Rico. And
Mhm.
my family are Puerto Rican. I understand the immigration struggle, because even if they are considered Americans, it's just not the same. When they come to this country, they have to learn English. like back in the day, it was harder for them as it is today, right? They were not Americanized. They were the way they are today. So when my grandmother came, my mom, they had that immigration struggle, right? So he was being sponsored. He was living with his family, and he goes ahead and he commits these crimes with three children from the same extended family. So it's like, not only is it criminal, on top of it is disrespectful because these people are trying to help you out. They're trying to bring you to this country for you to succeed, get the American dream. And you're going to do this? You know what I'm saying? Like, so you come to this country to do what? Crime. You don't deserve to be in this country. You don't deserve to be a citizen. You don't deserve to be among everybody else who is a law-abiding citizen. You don't deserve it. So he deserves this sentence. And this is just the downside of you know having these criminals disguising themselves through religion or through whatever it takes. They're gonna victimize themselves, and then behind closed doors they're committing crime. So no, this is just,
So I wanted
yeah.
to say that this is actually the article that I was quoting. It's the same
Hmm.
amount of time his victims had to wait for justice. That's what the judge told him.
Yep.
That's why it's 25 years, 11 and a
Yep.
half to 25 years. Now, it's not only him that's guilty. Who Avils Garriga lived accused him of molesting them while establishing himself in the United States and Puerto Rico. And when
Hmm.
two of the girls told their mother about what happened, she did not do anything about it. And Avils tried to discredit the girls, saying they were demons and delaying their baptism. So that seems to be the saying of choice: blame everything on the demons. These are little demons, these girls. He'd get away with it. It seems like this religion is just bent over. We were talking about this the other day. They're just bent over backwards on the demons. They worship the demons because they talk about the demons more than they talk about Jesus.
Yeah, yeah, we said that, we talked a little bit about that last night in the Discord party that we had. But at the end of that article, the judge also said something that really made a good point, because he says, out of everybody that was making comments on his behalf, right? It's that last paragraph there. He then addressed the people supporting Avilis Garriga, saying despite all the positive things they had to say about him, they never uttered a word of support for the three women who were vindicated in court or their families. He said it was a sign that not much has changed at the church since the years since the abuse began. And that is the truth. They still
Yep.
believe that he is somehow redeemable, that he could be repentant, that Jehovah will forgive him, and nothing for the victims. No,
No.
no saying like, I'm sorry this happened to you. What about the parents of these girls? Why did they not come forward with this when they were young? Why did they cover it for so long? That's what gets me upset.
Yep. I think the courts have to start penalizing parents as well, not just the perpetrator,
Mhm.
but the other people that knew of it, elders.
Mhm.
Everyone should get a sentence of some form, a criminal charge, community service, or something
Anybody that enabled
that
it.
enables this kind of nonsense,
Right, because they
crimes,
they
this kind of
did for
criminal
years.
activity, and covering it up. So the
Yeah.
more we talk about it, the better it is. And we get it out there. We let the JW audience know this is what's happening. But another thing that's happening in the JW world, they're kingdom halls. They're all going away. Take a look at this one. Dub. And it's showing where it is. I'll pull up the article in a bit here.
March 2019. July 2024.
Kingsvale apartment. They're a real estate company. That's what we're demonstrating here. They buy and sell property every day, and they're always getting the rank and file to do all the work for free. 60 to 70% of the costs of any project is labor. Buying a few bricks and some drywall, it's not the biggest part of the cost. It's putting it on and having the skilled laborers to do that. So the watching Watchtower they do link everything. I pulled this article up just to show the building here. And I wanted to show, yeah, here, let's just look here. So here's the suite. It was turned into an apartment. Fancy. I don't know if Watchtower did this work. I think they may have, because they have the labor to do it. And then they sold it off as an apartment, or if someone else came in and made it into an apartment. But here's what it says. It says, Apartment 2, Kingvale Apartments. Property details. It says, we are delighted to offer sale of this ground floor 2-bedroom apartment, being one of just a few in this converted former Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall. Step inside and you'll appreciate the accommodation is well planned, has generous sized rooms and high quality fittings throughout. Together with the property, there's one designated parking space. So that's what they were showing. But this is the property. It's a beautiful property. I think Watchtower probably did the work. They might use it as a Kingdom Hall for a while.
I think that they probably sold it off when it was a Kingdom Hall, and this is what the new people do.
Okay, so my good wife figures was sold off as a Kingdom Hall, and that's probably what they did. There's a parking lot in the back. There's a front look. It's kind of a weird looking Kingdom Hall,
Yeah.
but
Things are different over there.
I guess it's whatever they got for a good price.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, there's a blow up of it. So there's a
Yeah,
street
they're
view.
trying to make money. That's what it is. They're trying to make money. It's like, why
Yeah.
are you trying to make money and do new projects if Armageddon is gonna come at any minute and everything's gonna be destroyed anyways? So why are you doing all this? It just doesn't make any sense. But the average Jehovah's Witness doesn't know that this is going on. That's the problem. They
No.
just think that when there is a new startup building project, that they should sign up for the regional building committee, and that is a privilege to Jehovah. It is a privilege to serve Jehovah. So they're not viewing it as a business model. They are viewing it as, this is my service to Jehovah. This is what I can physically do and give Jehovah my all, give him my money, my time, my energy, because those are the things that Jehovah needs to bring more people to the truth. And that's when I got rid of that. That's what I used to tell my mom. Why does God need this? He's God. He doesn't need money. He doesn't need time. These things are human constructs that, confine us. God is infinite. He doesn't need any of that. So that's what has to change for them. They have to accept it for themselves and look at this through the money glasses, through the money lens. You know?
Okay, I was here.
Yeah.
So who do we have here? People are serving the Watchtower. Diana, greetings from Pittsburgh. What does God need with a starship? It's a good one. People are giving up their job, build kingdoms for no pay. They get hurt, die. Yeah, I haven't heard of any dying, but they get hurt. Always getting hurt.
Rebecca said that in the comments that
Yeah.
there was an 18-year-old who fell from the highest point of one of those regional building projects, and he died. So I was watching the comments. I saw when she said that. Yeah, that's so unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
No, they're not even getting a paycheck.
And then when the building is sold, it's not going towards the people who helped build it. It's not going towards the local needs. Like they always used to give local needs. And it's all fake. Is once you realize that everything in there is fake or a lie, then it doesn't bother you anymore. Like it doesn't bother me anymore because it doesn't dictate my life anymore or the decisions that I make. Not at all. It's like now I make all those decisions. You learn how to trust yourself to make those decisions.
Good for you, Ruby.
Well said.
Well said. Watchtower. What did Keith say? Watchtower Leisure Apartments, a new home that feels like paradise. Hi from the Netherlands. Hi, Deanna.
Hello.
So, yes, so that brings an end to our news today. We thank everyone for being on with us and getting a Friday news wrap up. But it's amazing what's going on in Denmark. Really amazing. So, we're going to look for a contact. Maybe we can all write them a thank you letter and keep those stories coming. They're doing,
Yeah.
and they're
Yes,
getting
thank you.
governments to look at them. So this is what has to happen. Watchtower can't blame this all on apostates.
Right. There are
The
people on the
people
outside
out
that
there,
are willing to
yeah,
talk on our behalf. There's
yeah,
psychologists, there's doctors, there's lots of people who are viewing this and they're validating what we're saying. So it's not just
exactly.
apostates. It's not, mentally ill people that are trying to target Jehovah's Witnesses. No, it's even the governments, even the courts, judges, lawyers, psychiatrists, everybody is saying the same thing. So you have to say, well, is the problem them? Yeah, the problem
Yeah,
is them.
absolutely. So this is all coming out, like we've been saying, everything that is hidden will be revealed. That's in so many places in the Bible. Even in all over the place, movie stars are being revealed for CSA. Well, this movie star is coming out. He was a JW. Everything that's hit, it's all coming out. The internet's exposing all this nonsense. And sooner or later, we'll get to the bottom of what's going on in the big wide world, but it's all coming. Maybe November 4th, they'll show us what's going to happen. We don't know. We
This
just
is
have
going
to
to be a really interesting week. So we only have 4 days until the election here in the United States, and I'm nervous, like legit nervous. I invested a lot. You know what I mean? Like I did a lot of research. I did a lot of reading. I did my shows. Like it took a lot of time and energy to educate myself on politics, to, want to participate, want to
for
be
you.
involved.
Yeah. And for anybody out there that's a Bible reader, it says in Romans there to be in subjection to the governments. Governments are throwing out elections, so we if we don't want to complain about it, then we should vote and
Right.
have a
Right.
choice. Therefore, if we don't vote, we shouldn't really have the right to complain, should we?
Right.
That's what I think.
Exactly. I used to always say that. Even as a witness, I used to say that. Like, oh, I'm not worried about that because I'm not voting. So, you justify it any way you see it. But now that I have switched that, like I'm not neutral. I want to participate. I want to have a voice. I want to have an opinion. And I want to at least know enough to explain that, right? That's what I do on my show. So now that the election is so close, I feel like this is it. Like Michael Jackson, this is it. This is the last. After November 5th, it's either we're gonna have Donald Trump or we're gonna have Kamala Harris. And if anybody has been paying attention to American politics, I don't know if you guys understand, because for us, like you said earlier, it is a big deal. It's very like important. Like it does like
And it should
affect
be.
our life.
Should be. Yeah. Thanks for doing that part on the politics. A lot of us ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, we know nothing about politics. So
Right.
it's learning, and there's nothing wrong with it. Politics is all the way through the Bible. Governments, kings, um, there's wars. The kings had wars. Even Ecclesiastes. There's a time for war, and there's a time for peace.
Right.
There's a time to cry, a time to laugh. There's a time for everything under the sun. And if that wasn't true, why in the heck was it in the Bible? Do we just take that scripture and throw it out the door and say, "Oh no, 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 there's no war. Or there should be no war." Well, heck, if there was no war, we'd all be under Hitler's rule right now. So we got to take a
Well,
second look at this. I don't
yeah.
know, unless you want a one world government, then you're pushing to that. So you got to be careful. We all have to be careful in how we think. We relay the news. That's what we do on this channel. It's up to you guys, the audience. You guys have to think. Take the news and do what you want with it. But
Right.
anyways, an interesting news with Bladet. What's going on in Denmark? It's a domino effect, and we're going to keep up on it. And Ruby, in 1 week's time, next News Friday, we'll have the election to talk about.
Oh my goodness.
Right now.
Well, the day of, I'm gonna do a live stream of the election live,
for you.
so everybody can come
Yeah.
join me. We'll do a watch party.
Mhm.
We'll have some snacks. We'll do
For
like a
sure.
hangout session, and
It'll be
we
great.
will go through it together because I can't watch that by myself. I can't.
Okay, Ruby. Well, we look forward to that, and we're going to say good afternoon,
Bye,
Friday. Good afternoon to
everybody.
everyone out there. Have yourselves a great Friday, a great weekend. Maybe we'll see you on Rick Fearon's channel on Saturday. But
Oh
anyways,
yeah.
we'll see you on our next video. Bye for now. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.